stripes, he felt he had it in the bag. I spoke to you after she won at Cheltenham, and you spoke about what a good mare you thought she was and how versatile he was. And she went to France last summer, beat their unbeaten mare over there, who would be the same as that was Jane. Yeah, and I think the first time it was ever beaten in her life in the French Champion Earl, and she beat her. This mare, you've trained some very special mares along the way. This one's right up there. Oh, she could be as good as, better than any of them even, her 2 to 3 months.
Hello and welcome to episode 15 of Ante Up. No, I won't do the misery for the whole episode. Jeez, what a couple of hours before we started doing this, eh, Matt? How are you feeling about everything?
Yeah, a little bit deflating, that one. I mean, we'd sort of had the clues, haven't we, the last week or so, but to hear the news that Benny Didu officially won't be going to Cheltenham, a little bit deflating, but yeah, what can you do? It's Antepost punting for you, isn't it?
Absolutely. This week as well, what we're going to do is, because I know I've been a bit lax with putting up our selections today, I know I'm putting up the current selections, we're going to go through our picks today, and I'm going to display it in a slightly different fashion to how probably other people would do it. Warts and all, but I think it's better to show you the way that I'm going to show it. Unfortunately, because of Benny, I had to go and redo the slides, didn't I? So thanks for that, Willie. Ruined my holiday. We're going to review a bit of action that's happened before, although, to be honest with you, I can't be bothered with the stuff that's already happened. I'm miserable for this evening. I want to get back and eat some more cake. But we'll talk about a couple of races that have gone through. We'll obviously look forward to some of the action that's going on this weekend. Newbury was cancelled, so we've got some extra racing this weekend coming up. And then we'll go through selections. I've got the odds check a bit. Now, I know it was a bit buffery last week on the live stuff, so I apologise. Thank you for persevering with us, guys. The chat stuff as well, I was going to try and peel that in this week, but I'm not going to do it. If you do have any questions for the show, put them in and I'll peel them in for next week. We'll do like a little bit of a Q&A thing, possibly, unless there's another horrible bit of news that comes out and depresses me for another week. But no, I'm only joking. All part of the game, innit? And we knew when we first said that in the first episode, it was punty with a yada yada yada. Let's not worry about it. One thing we will just quickly touch on, Matt, just for the sake of getting it out. You said there, we knew about it a little while ago. There was tweaks on the exchanges, and obviously we say we knew, it was rumours, wasn't it? Anything that if I knew anything that was fairly concrete, I would have put something on the page. And even though you're not supposed to do it, don't care. But if it's something where we're just not 100% sure, then I don't want to take the risk of putting words out there and it just looks like I'm a guesser. But you touched on the fact that there was people talking about it in between. How do you feel about the whole situation when this sort of stuff happens, when they know that the horse isn't there and then they just leave it maybe a couple of weeks too late to say something?
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't sit that comfortably, does it, for me? The problem is, Dave, I don't know what the solution is. Do we say we set up some sort of system where every time a horse has a niggle, they're supposed to put something out? It's very, very difficult to know what the best thing to do is. But I do think it's something that's maybe holding racing back from going to like a wider audience. The uncertainty around horses' fitness and well-being. But I genuinely ain't got the answer. Certain things don't sit well with me though. When they know that the horse probably isn't going to make it there, and they hold back that information for as long as possible. But I suppose that's their prerogative. They're the ones paying the bills and train the horse. We're just punting on them, aren't we? But yeah, at least she's alive and well, because there was rumours that the worst had happened, wasn't there, earlier in the week. So at least the horse is alive and well and lives to fight another day. That's the main thing, to be honest with you.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think you're right, painting the picture or painting the sport in a bad light. People talk about like the corruption side of it, didn't they? There was that foiled gamble a little while ago, and then when you see things like this, it just sort of echoes into those people's minds when they're thinking, oh, is it as like more dodgy than we're giving it credit for? And then situations like this come up. Is what it is, and I feel a bit sorry for him in the fact that, like, how soon do you tell someone you've got a niggle? Like, you want to be 100% sure, and you'd think the trainer's probably going to give them a little bit more time than maybe some yard staff or other people would be in there. So if it was, say it was your dog that had a little niggle or something, I might be more forward with you saying your dog's ruined, that's never going to do anything again, because I don't have the full-blown attachment to it. Whereas if it's your dog and you've been training it and you wanted to do something with it, don't know why I'm using a dog, but an animal in it. But if it was yours, you might have that little bit of hope where you just think, oh, I'm going to cling on and clutch
Yeah.
at straws a little bit for a little bit longer. So, oh well, it is what it is. Yeah, enough talking about that. So, is there any action from last week you want to recover, really? I mean, Paul Saga, the French one, came over, got spanked, so 2 pip. All Mankind ran, didn't it? What do you make of him before, like even before like the race that went on there, and then like obviously what he's done after? Do you, I won't say my bit. I'll say my bit after.
I can't help but like him, David. I don't think he'll get near the front 2 in the Arkle market, but you can't help but like him. He makes mistakes, but he doesn't seem to slow him down. If you backed him, your heart would be in your mouth all the way. But he'll certainly put up a target for the front 2 in the market. I can't see him winning it. If he jumps like he did the other day, I think he'll struggle around the festival. But yeah, it'll be an entertaining watch, and it'll certainly give him something to aim at up in front. I'd say Energamine will just sit off him, and Shishkin will probably hit a flat spot and then fly past him up the hill. I think, Dave, to be honest with you.
See, I don't like 5-year-olds in an Arkle. Full stop. That's
Yeah.
the first annoying thing, and no one's even talking about it this year. When it was Fakir Doodery, everyone was slagging him, weren't they? Doing these performances, doing bits, all that sort of stuff. On like the official figures, him giving £3 to Sky Pirate potentially would have looked like maybe a better performance if you looked at the numbers of it. But Sky Pirate, they've done well to win 2 on the spin with him. He's just been shown up that he's not the mark that he's been given at the moment, I think. I don't think All Mankind's anywhere in the league of like a Shishkin or an Energamine. It's just bizarre to me that there are a number of people out there that think he's going to win an Arkle, or even talk about saying it's not about winning it, it's running close, all that sort of stuff. And like I sometimes like to just sit on the fence a little bit, because you think if you don't make a bold statement about a horse, then you can't look like an idiot after, could you? But I can't see that All Mankind anywhere involved. Even by the time they get to the last, I think he'll be like gone.
Yeah.
Whether it's mistakes, whether he's just too much. Like I fancied him a bit in the Triumph, and I know they went there fresher than they've done this year, so they probably learned a little bit. But he was pants in the Triumph, so it's not even like he's the Triumph winner from the year before. I don't know. There's no way I can say that I hate him, because it's not that at all. But he's just one of them. Like he obviously is a very nice horse, but he's not like Grade 1 worthy. The marks of them, but the Arkle does look good with Shishkin and Energamine. Anything else other than that? Boring week by the sounds of it.
Apart from Ellie Mae was decent, but I won't give up on Shattered Love. I thought she ran a decent race over an inadequate trip. So yeah, I thought that was a decent performance by the pair of them, to be honest with you, Dave. Especially now we know Benny's not good.
No comment on the mares at the moment. Anyway, save that for a later part of the show. Hint, hint. So I'll tell you what. Rather than warbling, I'm going to go for our picks to date. Now I know normally people will put that later on. We might look at the action that's coming up for this weekend, but to pad it in a little bit, we'll do the picks we're up to date now. So just to show you exactly where we are, how abysmal I've been on this. Then we'll look a little bit towards the weekend, maybe giving some thought process of horses that may be slightly on a radar. Now I touched on it last week when we went live. A horse that Champagne Platinum. Before, when we've been recording these, been very, very reluctant to even mention other horses, but we're reaching a point now where I feel like if there's anything you've got interest in that was like half on your radar and you want to mention them, obviously they won't go on the profit lossy bit for the sake of it unless we put them up as a full-blown selection. But if there is anything you want to warble about, I told you not to say it before, but now we'll just give it up to the people. So let's skim through the picks, mate. I'll mention some brief stuff in there. You can put your 2 penneth in as well. We're going to start off with Matt's selections, because we'll get an extra 30 seconds worth of view time, because everyone will switch off when they see mine. Or you might want to stay tuned to see how abysmal I am. Get those screenshots as well. I mean, YouTube tells you when you screenshot the video, but hasn't been screenshotted a lot recently. Just screenshot them, and then you can share them on Twitter about how bad I am. Or just message me and I'll send them to you. Anywho, picks to date. I'm not sure how big or clear this is going to come up on the screen. Hopefully it's okay. But these are, with me and Matt have both had 21 selections up to date now. These are Matt's first 7 that came up. I think this is pretty much in chronological order. So you can see Matt's got 3 there that are in a significant percentage increase, 3 that are bad, and then 1 that's the same as. Just before you come in, Matt, I'm just explaining why the percentage things are in there. What this is the percentage perceived chance that the horse has for a race, and what the increase is in there. So ultimately, if you backed all of these horses today, they've obviously got whatever chance to win a race. But by putting horses up in advance, the idea is we're sneaking a bit of extra value. So we might be able to get 10 to 1 on a 7 to 1 shot like we've got there for Min in the Ryanair. And then the idea is, even if you do get a few bad ones, it balances out so you do well. So Matt's, in terms of percentage chance to what he's staked to do it, he's 43% ahead. So if anyone wants me to bore him with the stats, I can do a separate video on that. But basically, well done, Matt. That's pretty decent stake. How do you feel about the first page of horses? Obviously, I had to tweak Benny. That was a nice 16% swing against you because we had beaten the price. But did you feel like, because this is the first time we've done anything like this, were you a bit worried after some of these horses we first put in, like Out Your Fumbling, now Benny?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, first time we've done anything like this, I suppose you learn for next year, don't you? There's a few that I wish I hadn't put in. There's a few looking decent. But yeah, I think overall I'm fairly happy with what I've put up. The RTO one probably niggles me a little bit. We should have maybe seen that coming. But yeah, all in all, Dave, happy with that first page, to be honest with you.
Superb. And about the second page, look at that, ladies and gentlemen. There's only one bad one in there, and that's not even his fault. That's Dusart. And I don't care what anyone says. If Dusart was sound, he would be slapping Appreciate It all over the face. We're talking about, lots of people are saying about how substandard Supreme potentially looks. That could have been all green, but that's the nature of the beast. Other ones look quite good, they made, didn't they? And Pencil for the Lead's probably coming around quite nicely now, I think.
Yeah, I'm hopeful with Pencil for the Land, I know his last run, you could probably mark that down, but I thought it meant he was more likely to go National Hunt Chase. So I'm pretty happy with that. Very happy with Bob Ollinger. I think he's got a real chance. Albion just makes it the hat trick, doesn't he? Yeah, really happy with that, mate, to be honest with you.
So just while we're on this slide, this is a good example to use with the percentage fluctuation. So you can see Albion 30 was 11 to 2. It's down to 3 to 1. So it's pretty much halved in price. His percentage chance of winning the race has gone up by best part of 10%. Farouk Delan, that's underneath, that's almost-ish halved, but that's only gone up by 2.8%. So it's all well and good putting up a 50 to 1 poke that goes into 40s and saying, wow, I've beaten the price. But you've gone from a 2% chance to a 2.5% chance. So is like sometimes it's negligible taking the value in advance. With these shorter priced ones, the risk does come in the fact that, like Dusart there, he didn't run, or he's not going to run, so you lose a bigger percentage in there. If you'd have put up a 40 to 1 shot for a Supreme and it went out, you'd only be losing a couple of percent. So I won't waffle too much about the percentages, but I think it gives you a better example of what's going on. And then your most recent ones in there, mate. Capo Dan is the only one. He ran the other day, didn't he? I like how you swerved and didn't mention him.
Yeah, not great. Not my finest, though. Probably my worst one so far. But yeah, the rest of them, Day, I mean, you can't get them all, can you? You can't win them all. I'm quite happy with the rest of them. Quilixios, I still think Quilixios has got a chance. I do really like Zana here as well, but Quilixios has got a chance, more of a staying type. I think he'll go close. Yeah, I'm real happy with that. I think Fiora Road's a bit overlooked still as well. Still 20 to 1. Still can't believe he's 20 to 1 with his Albert Bartlett form.
Yep.
Yeah, no, happy with that, Dave.
Fair play to you. And I think ones like Cocoa Beach, for example, there was a few people that talked about this horse, and I think I don't follow everyone that puts selections up, but I saw after he won his race, a lot of people saying, "Oh, he's ruined his mark for Cheltenham for the race they put him up." You obviously chose any race there. Again, like it's very small margins with those things. Some weeks we'll look at it and the price is such a vast difference that we can't put it up any race. But you played that one quite nicely. Fury Road, I agree with you. Definitely, whether maybe not overlooked is the right word, because I think a few people like him, but because there's so many other horses that are being mentioned for the race, I feel like at one point there was probably 10 or 11 horses that were going in there where everyone was thinking actually they've got a genuine chance, but now they're starting to maybe slowly slip away a little bit, like Roxana could end up going mares. Obviously people still thought Benny had a chance of going there. That's not happening. Paul Saga, the French ones, just proved was nowhere near good enough. So some of those ones that might have been interesting probably aren't so much now. But your Envoy Monkfish one, we did that before the Dublin Racing Festival. You were saying that you wanted to get Envoy on the team sheet, and it just shows there that by taking that price before Monkfish ran, how much the percentage chance has changed. Now we can all see that's gone from 9 to 2 into a 9 to 4 poke. That is a significant move off the back of one horse running, which was Monkfish. But as much as at the time you could think, oh, well, that's obvious, sticking up a favourite double, timing of everything, isn't it? So well done, Matt. This one won't be very clear to see probably, but it's just a graph that shows the red baseline is basically if they've got the same chance now as when we put them up. which probably wouldn't be a bad thing when we come onto my slide. But you can see there the majority of Matt's are in advance. And as I say, across all of his 21 selections, he's got 43-ish, something like that, 40-odd% more chance of them winning than the prices that he's stacked back to Matt. So can't argue with that. Just hope that you've actually picked some horses that can win. Oh, should we just skip mine, Matt? No, come on. Look at this. Paisley Park, the first one that went up. Look how good it started. Oh, you want to see the other pages, ladies and gentlemen. So look, again, depending on the price that you're putting selections up at, when you're picking Fernie Hollow, the favourite for the Supreme, and it's only a 10-1 poke, 9% of your winning chance has gone because that's a selection that's got no chance of winning at the festival. Obviously, Benny's come out today. Next destination I put up any race, Nichols has suggested that he's going to go RSA or the new Brown Advisory Festival Novices Chase, whatever it's called. So I've just put the price in there for the RSA. So a little bit of value, but he ain't winning. And I don't know why I put 21-1. That's because it was decimal before. It's 20-1, but the percentage is right. Marie's Rock was woeful in it. Again, we both got mugged off by the Altior Tingle Creek scenario, didn't we? The Gold Cup as well, mate. How's your luck for that? Mellon does his race, and then they talk about tactically trying something different before the Gold Cup, and then they try the tactics, it didn't work. Then they go talk about going for the Ryanair. I have put him as lost, I think, in this, but then Delta Work. Still thought he had a bit of a chance. Injured. Never mind. Yeah, there's Mellon. But again, for the minus percentage, you can see there the difference between a Fernie Hollow, a 10-1 shot you're putting up, and then Mellon. You can take a few chances with bigger priced ones from a risk perspective. It doesn't look like it's damaged your portfolio as much, but at the end of the day, it's percentage chance of winning a race. I didn't put Mellon up at 66 because I thought, oh, we might halve in price. Put Mellon up at 66 because I thought he actually had a chance of winning the race. What a dog. Gal Louise, the mare's novice this time round, mate, is just a muddle and mishmatch that probably could be run 3 or 4 times, something different or win. Still fairly happy with Gal Louise, but would have preferred that she spanked up because she would have been right in there. Alone Among Millions, we talked about the fact that he was probably lame after, so whether he even goes, that's probably a dead bet. Ngolo any race, he's probably going to be looking like one of my best options. That shows how bad it is. Mick Pasta, people are still talking about him for a Grand Annual, but I'm not hearing anything. And I think he might need some more runs as well. Ramilli's in the bumper. The only way Ramilli's can win the bumper is every horse that wins the bumper has won last time out. So hopefully Willie will send him where they stuck Fernie Hollow last year, and he at least wins before he goes to Cheltenham. Because if he doesn't run again before Cheltenham, you don't win the bumper off the back of a defeat. Statler, okay, that looks a little bit better now, doesn't it? 25s into 8s. And obviously, like I'm saying with these percentages, it looks miserable now. Basically, you would have been, from a money perspective, you would be just as well advised to look at my selections now and then pick and choose which ones you'd want to bet because you would have saved yourself a few quid. But it doesn't mean that I'm definitely going to draw a blank. I mean, just probably. Look at the state of this page. Oh, never mind. Such is life. But a few little punts in there. Obviously, ill-fated, my high head, stuff like that happens. Galley Hill, we talked about. I said non-run and no bet was the suggestion, but we'd leave it on here for the sake of it because who cares? Eclair de Rire as well. Actually got scratched on the National Hunt Chase today. But I suggested again in the follow-up video that what I'd done with the stakes, so whether people did it or not, I don't know. Good luck to you, but it does look like he is going to go RSA-ish, so handy. Protectorat. They pulled it, and before I put this one up as well, I said to Matt about handicapping, but again, where I touched on the price for any race or the price for other stuff compared to the price that he was for the race that I've kind of thought was too big a price for it. Yeah, they scratched Protectorat today, so 150 I think his mark is, or 152 at the worst, handicap, and they talk about stepping up in trips, so I'll just be interested to see where he goes at the festival, but yeah, a bit annoyed more than anything. And I did say that about the handicap thing. I just thought, if they think they're going to win a handicap with £7 well in, then he's probably close enough to go win an RSA. Never mind waffling. And then Sam Crow, Gordon Elliott was out and about today because of Old Tiger. He's mentioned that Sam Crow has got an entry this weekend, and he's sounding less and less confident every week, talking about how he's so hard to get trained and they don't know what's going on with him. Either runs really bad or really good. So, cheers, Gordo. Thanks for filling
on Sam Crow Day. On
Yeah.
Sam Crow, would you want him to run this week?
No.
Or would you rather him go there fresh?
Go fresh. Give him another window like they did last year. Don't run him, for God's sake. Can't do another one.
I agree.
Now.
Yeah. No, I'd send him there fresh. Same.
So we'll see what happens. But the fact that they've even entered him this weekend semi-worries me, whether they want to get some work into him, whether they want to see if there's any spark. But he's touched on Ryanair's the target for Cheltenham. But anywho, I just thought we'd go off a shorter price. That time of year, I'm just sort of looking for value over probably better selections, which isn't ideal. French is ill. I'm still fairly happy with. William Hill just pushed him out a little bit because they're not non-won or no bet. So this time of year, when lots of other bookmakers are, they can afford to take a bit more juice on some of these horses. So that's all of them. Look at the hideous graph, guys. Oh, look at the red line. Ugh, hideous, but it's part of the game, innit? And yeah, is what it is. Obviously, I'm disappointed. Going to get the little ticker bar up again. That's going to wind everyone up, innit? Obviously, I'm disappointed because I want to put selections out there that's profitable and it's beneficial for people. But hopefully, in the main, the fact of when we're talking through things, you guys have obviously got your own minds. Hopefully, people are making their own decisions on things. If anyone has just followed me blind, I mean, I am sorry. I do feel a little bit sorry, but hopefully, we're not like knee deep in everything. We're not betting beyond our means, and there's still potentially maybe a couple of chances clutching at straws to get out. Anywho, looking forward towards the weekend then, Matt. We touched on the fact that Sam Crow's got an entry. Man like Tiger Roll will run in the Boyne.
Yeah.
He was on my, I say my shortlist. He was very close to going in, but I was umming and ahhing because when I was doing the slides, I was thinking to myself, maybe I'm just getting a bit too nostalgic for some of these selections, and maybe it's a bit embarrassing. But I was semi-tempted. We talked about, well, I talked to him to you, didn't I, a little while ago, that just 7-1 for Cheltenham, potentially his swan song. He was injured, or he came back lame after he's run there last time. Given the fact that he was so fancied last year for the race, like again, I just felt like the price was just wrong. Like I can see him going off like a 7-2, 3-1 poke. Even last year, I put a write up after he ran in the Boyne about how poor I thought his run was, and everyone was just absolutely creaming their pants about, oh, look at Tiger running sick, what a great effort over the wrong trip. So when you put it into perspective on Racing Post Range, you can read the article, it's still out there. It was a pants effort from him. So I'd be taking a bit of a punt because he's not been in great form this season. And if he ran in the Boyne Hurdle and he put in a similar display to that, or worse, I would be making a case that he's gone, fully gone at the game. So be a bit punty, and then the other show put it up. So cheers for that, guys. Thanks a lot. Ruined my holiday. You and Willie ganging up on me. But yeah, anything else that's coming up this weekend? Obviously, we've got Newbury that's been rearranged. I've got to ask you, and I'll take a swig while I'm waiting for you to answer. Champ in the game spirit.
He's not going to jump well enough, is he, to go 2 miles? I mean, I think when the news first broke and everyone was straight on at Nicky Henderson one day, and I think I texted you, didn't I, and said, I think he's probably in a position now where he genuinely sees this as the best option running Champ there, just because he doesn't want him to have a hard race. But and I think you would fit back, is it like the pace could take him off his feet, and you are right. I don't know. He's not going to win the race, is he? Let's face it. He's probably going to be a bit of a schooling in public job. It's just a run before the Gold Cup, wherever they can get a run into him. It's a mess of a campaign for him. I can't see him winning the Gold Cup off the back of it. I don't know, Dave. What do you reckon?
I find it bizarre, mostly in his comments about it, where he talked. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he suggested that he'll run in there, but it'll be okay for a prep for the Gold Cup, and it might be beneficial for like further down the line. Almost talking about they're going to drop him back to be a champion chaser next season. Like this guy's, he's loosed it like full blown. I still think that Anderson's just bantering with all of us. Like we're all just living in a little lottery world, and he's just doing what he wants. The thing is, because I'm a little bit worried about Champ's jumping, and I think you have to be worried about his jumping, but you also have to be worried about novices. Like it's not a second season novice. I know they'll all refer to it, but the horse's first time out of their novice season, going up against older company, even if they're not officially rated as high as them or not the top level 2 milers, for example, they are still going to be seasoned pros that have jumped a lot of fences at speed and know how to get away with it. I just feel like he's either going to break Champ's neck or he's going to break his heart in this race, because he's not going to win it. He's going to get beat. Now, it could come out after the race and Champ's jumped beautifully. They've just never been hard on him all time, and he just gets a 2 mile decent speed of schooling round. Then perfect. The only way I can see this being a good outcome is if Champ just jumps around fluently in his own time and just stays with him for as long as he can stay with him. All I see in my head is that he's going to make a mistake. And then at what point do you stop jumping him over fences if he does make a mistake? Because I feel like in a 3 mile chase, not that they'll be going slow, but they obviously won't be going as fast. You've got a bit of time to bring yourself back into the race. And if for whatever reason that he wasn't having a good day, then you could potentially put him up. Just a 2 mile like proper thing. We go back to All Mankind. We made a mistake, and I said about Sky Pirates like rating shows up how he's marked up too high. He just couldn't live with All Mankind at the speed that he was going. It's a different kettle of fish. 2 mile chasing, it's insane. And someone like Sky Pirate that normally travels into a race beautifully, to be off his feet, so like not that far up, but like he was never going to get anywhere near All Mankind. It's just a completely different spear, and it annoys me that he's got the Denman Chase as the other option. It's not like there is no other race. Like I just stick him in there. Like I know he's going to get spanked by Clanders Oboe, but he's going to get spanked in this race. It's just, something in my head just makes me feel like Nicky Henderson doesn't want horses to get beat in races.
I think he's got a thing about bottoming horses now, Dave. I think that's what it is. He thinks that 3 mile. I just think he thinks that this is the easier option, but it isn't. I think it makes sense to him. I really do. But it just doesn't, does it? It doesn't make sense. It could be.
Know, it just doesn't sit right with me, because it's the same as well with the fact, like it obviously we don't know. Maybe they are genuinely going there to try and win the game spirit. But what are you doing sticking a horse in a race where, like, as far as I'm concerned, they're not going there to try and win the race. They're literally going there to have a spin round against some other horses. Well, that isn't the reason that you enter horses into races. You enter horses into races because you want to be competitive. Now, I know people will argue there's 100-to-1 pokes that run at Cheltenham that have got no right to be there. That's a story for another day, because I agree they've got no right to be there. But I don't know. I hate it, to be honest, but is what it is. I'd like Champ. I'd like to think that he could be just like a nice little story in it for him to go and win a Gold Cup. But all I can see him doing is hopefully just jumping nicely, and then he'll stay in the race for a long while. I just don't want to see him making mistakes and ball some stuff up. But I suppose as well, I don't know, maybe he's really keen at home at the minute. Maybe he's really buzzy, and they know if they stick him over 3 miles, he's going to go breakneck speed early on. So they might as well let him do it in a race like that, and he'll get used to going a fast clip. Because if there's a slowly run Denman Chase, then he's not going to learn to jump at speed like he'll need to at Cheltenham. It's probably the sensible thing to do in terms of getting as much preparation into him before Cheltenham as possible. But they're using it as a training exercise. But hey ho, is what it is. At least Nicky Henderson's going to run a horse, isn't he? There is other stuff going on. Betfair Hurdle, lots of different things happening there. Again, Sky Pirate, they've wasted the fact that they could have got in him. I think he was £7 well in that handicap compared to his new mark. Never mind. Kadzand in there for Dan Skelton. He's one I've got one eye on the county hurdle with him, but you'd need him to not run potentially well in the county in this Betfair hurdle to then go and win the county. I think, because I don't want his mark to go up. But then, do you really want a horse to be running pants before they go to Cheltenham? So maybe he's going to just win in the Betfair hurdle. But that's normally a nice enough race. Maybe not for Cheltenham pointers. There is some other nice stuff over in Ireland as well. There's the Mercedes-Benz Novice Hurdle. It's a 3 mile hurdle. I quite like that race. There might be something half decent in there that goes and wins. A few other bits and pieces that are out and about, but nothing that I feel is worthy enough of me shouting out at the camera now and saying you need to pay attention to this, guys. I think I'll try and put some sort of weekend preview up, because there is lots of racing where I'll talk more specifically about certain horses. Because Champagne Platinum, there's only 2 races left to qualify for the Potemps over here. Champagne Platinum, I touched on him last week. He got withdrawn from the qualifier at Exeter, but he's entered up to run in the next one. So hopefully he goes in there. Nicky Henderson said that that's the plan for him. So yeah, I'll leave it to the weekend when we get final declarations, and I'll touch on any horses that I like. If Matt's got anything that he's keen on, I'll get him to WhatsApp me. But anything before then, mate, you want to mention now?
Not really. I suppose the big breakaway in the Reynolds Town, I won't even be the big breakaway's biggest fan, but he jumped that poorly last time out, made mistakes at crucial points, and still got as close as he did to Chamblou. They're into Chamblou in there this time. He should be beating them. Even the replication of what he did last time, he should be beating them. He jumps any better, and he'll have an easy time. I think he should be winning that. He's only about 2-1 though. Whether or not he'll be having a bet or not, I think you'll see better from Big Breakaway this time. He's the only one really, David, I sort of mentioned.
Yeah, I quite like that race as well. I think it was the Reynolds Town where Manella Rocco ran in it a long time ago before he went and won the National Hunt Chase. And I was keen on Manella Rocco that season as a novice chaser, and he just kept, I think he must have unseated. He cost me quite a few quid back at him fairly short as well in those races. And I'd pretty much all but given up on my Antepost bet of him for the National Hunt Chase. And then he did what he did at Ascot and stayed on. And I just thought, like, this horse, like, there is something in him. and then I piled on a bit more for National Hunt Chase. So that's a hell of an aftertime, isn't it? Like 7 years worth of an aftertime. But that's the sort of thing with this Reynolds Town. If the ground starts to get a little bit better, because obviously we've had frozen ground, we've had rain. Like it's tough work out there. Even when I've been going out for walks and stuff with the dog, like you just get bad ground in the aftermath of this, despite if there's not too much rain. So we'll see how things pan out. But I want to see something staying on and finishing like a training there, because it tends to be very far and few between. It does happen in a Reynolds Town. But yeah, I like the big breakaway enough to think that he'd be the one that I'd fancy in the race, but I couldn't back just because it's him, innit?
Yeah.
Like the 2-to-1's probably about the right sort of price if you want to take a punt, but then we're not punters, are we? We're professional tipsters. No, we're not. We're not. We both work for a living and we're just doing this for bants, aren't we? Absolute Bantanamo Bay. Right, I've got Odds Checker on the side to try and get it going this week. The problem is, guys, because I'm streaming, it's very intense taking the resource from me. The only reason I want to put Odds Checker on this live part is when we're quoting prices of horses, you'll see that it was the price when we put it up. If it keeps playing like it is playing at the moment, which it isn't going to load up basically, just take my word for it that the prices are what they are. I can check it on my phone, I can stick it on the screen if not, but I don't think anyone really cares. Matt, I've got 2 this week, mate. How many have you got?
Just the one this week.
How do you want to play it? Should we? See, this is where I do need to get the comments up from YouTube, because we could put it to the people, because they'll just want to hear yours and then they can all switch off, wouldn't they? I'm going to make you wait. Right, I'm going in, mate. Right, A or B?
B.
Oh, good choice. B. So, I don't know why I always feel the need to intro my selections. It's almost like I'm justifying them before anything goes in. But the 2 selections I'm putting up this week, this is why when I touched on it right at the beginning, the frustration of BDD being taken out has, well, one of them I don't think it's made a difference to. The other one, it's ballsed me up right on. Basically, I'm sticking up 2 mares this week. One of them was definitely going up anyway. The second one I've just chucked in now is like a little bit of a gung-ho, so bear that in mind. But the B, which is the slightly more gung-ho one, and I almost didn't put it up because a lot of people are talking about her, but do you know what? Going in is Shattered Love in the Mare's Chase. 14-1 you can still get with Bet365, so that is obviously cash outable. Obviously, you got beat by Ellie May. When you watch that race back, considering the fact that Shattered Love over 2 miles is just bleh, they were talking about Shattered Love as a potential Gold Cup horse. She obviously won the JLT at Cheltenham. They heavily backed her that day as well. That is her trip for me. She's a middle distance mare. She's obviously got the decent form at Cheltenham. Ellie May's only run at Cheltenham over hurdles in the mare's hurdle, and I wasn't that sold on her, but she is so much better over fences, like it wouldn't put me off her in terms of a chance. Just think the price gulf between them off the back of that run has actually played out quite nicely for us, because at one point in running Ellie May traded, I think she went out to about 6-4, 13-8. Like until they got to rounding the final bend, she looked like a little bit like, well, is she going to be able to get to him? But she just showed plenty of speed, didn't she? Shattered Love, that's as good as you're going to get her to possibly run over 2 miles, as far as I'm concerned. She went out in front to do the donkeyish work, which they probably tried to make it as best they could to try and go out fast to maybe try and make it a bit more stamina based. But Ellie May ideally doesn't want to be running at 2 mile, although it would have suited her more than it did Shattered Love. I just think 14-1 is just too big a price for Shattered Love. If we know what the race is like now with the fact that Benny's not in there, Ellie May and Shattered Love for me would be the 2 that would look like the potential winners of the Mare's Chase, or the 2 that I'd be least surprised if they did go and win it. It may just be now that Shattered Love's just going to run in Ellie May's shadow. I'm not an each way punter, but I'm not saying it for the fact that people want to do that, but if that's the way you were inclined, then I don't think that she's a terrible price. And when I chuck in the other one as well, maybe an each way double for people that are that way inclined. But I like Shattered Love anyway. I messaged you before that Gordon Elliott came out of a comment saying she definitely goes for the Mare's Chase. Like it was all a given, and there was such a price gulf between her and non-1-0 bet markets. Like I think she was 18th with Bet365, which is what I suggested to you. She actually went out to 25s after that race with Ellie May, which was a bit bizarre. But I wonder whether, because they were top price, they were doing that to reduce the cash out, and it actually backfired on them. But whatever it is, she stayed the same price anyway. I think Shattered Love at 14s is worth getting in for the Mare's Chase. And now Benny's not there. I need to stick one in, don't I? Matthew, I'm going to go straight in with my next selection.
Go for it.
Or do we need to? Let's go on. You quickly say something about Shattered Love. Don't be nice this week if you don't want to.
No, I am going to be nice, just because as well. I'm just got the market up here. Now Benny's obviously gone. Colreevy probably isn't going to go there. Got the kettle on. They've confirmed for the Arkle today. Annie Mac will go. Damn the Compagnie, they've talked about going back over hurdles. So, and then you come to Shattered Love. So there's probably you can get right down the list with a list of non-runners before you get Shattered Love. And I think she could quite easily go off second favourite day. So 14-1, not bad at all, to be honest with you.
Cheers,
like
mate.
it.
So I thought it was just the Irish that were giving me a hard time at the moment and ruining my holiday, but you've just dropped a little nugget into who my next one is. I better get on with her. Dame de Compagnie for the Mares Hurdle. This is one the price is shortened. She was 16s with Bet365 before the Benny news. I actually backed her at 14s non-runner no bet with Paddy Power. Messaged Matt and said, Matt, Hendo's talking about her going hurdles. Explained the case I'm about to make to you and said, mate, get the 14s because value in it. We're like a little value loser. Then she was still 16s with Bet365. So because she was 8-1 with the non-runner no bet concession, the golfing price just meant the 16s with cash out was much better. She has been trimmed off the back that Benny's not going there. But the way I look at the race, Concertista deserves to be favourite. She's evens. I think there's better even money shots at the festival than her. Given the fact that Roxana's likely to come here, she is a Mares Hurdle winner. Okay, she may be a little bit better over 3 miles these days, but the 3 mile Aintree Hurdle or Liverpool Hurdle is where she needs to be going. That's where she's going to be better suited. A flatter track, that's what she's won before. She's going to. I think she'll come Mares Hurdle. So them two are in there. Then when you move past that, like Verdana Blue's being touted for coming here, and Dame de Compagnie is of those ones that I've just mentioned there is third best in. I'll agree with that. But she did win the Coral Cup last year. I know a few people that do timings and stuff. So Daryl's nice enough to send me his times when he does bits and pieces. I remember him talking at the beginning of the season how he was really impressed with her, and he did it when we talked about the Mares Hurdle, didn't we, on the Antepost thing, like the mid-season thing? And you were talking then, weren't you? They said no, they're going to send her over fences at that point, which they have done. And admittedly, it wasn't her fault the last day because she just ran into the horse that had made a mistake. But she was nowhere near the main protagonist there. They may decide to go Mares Chase with her. But I don't see why you would when they've got Ellie May. Not saying that the owners can't run two in there, but you look at the Mares Hurdle now, no Honeysuckle, no Benny DeJew, the 1 and 2 from last year. It's wide open as far as I'm concerned. So I think she will come for this race. So I'm not fussed about the non-runner no bet being gone. So 12-1 is as good as you'll get, and she will go off shorter than that. Again, if you like the little each way part, you could play the each way double on the pair of them. The top prices are both for Bet365. I'm not that way inclined, but I think both of these have got genuine chances. I think both of them are too big a price. I think they're both capable of winning the race. Concertista obviously did get the job done at the second time of asking that Mares Novice, and she has looked absolute fire this year. But I'm just not 100% sold on her whether she wants a real stamina race, and Roxana will be suited to a stamina race in a Mares Hurdle if the ground is as bad as it's probably going to be at Cheltenham. Dame de Compagnie, the Coral Cup's over a furlong further, she'll be fine with it. And I think the little confidence boost of her coming back over hurdles will probably help as well. So fairly happy with both those selections, to be honest. And yeah, basically in memory of Benny, did you? Come on, any stick for that one? Because you didn't get involved when I told you about it for the Mares, did you?
No, I didn't. Part of it was because when we spoke about Roxana before, I was adamant she should take on go for the stayers again. But the way things have developed, if it was me, I probably would aim her at the Mares Hurdle now. I think she'd have a good chance, to be honest with you, Dave. Even though I do think she's better over further. But yeah, I mean, like you say, it's a price thing again, isn't it? The disparity between Concertista at the head of the market and Dame de Compagnie at 12-1, you can't argue with the price there. I think she'll go there with a decent each way chance, yeah.
And that's the slight negative with it, because we're reaching the stage now where, as an anti-post punter, that I pepper markets left, right, and centre, and I'm very much knee-jerks sounds bad because it sounds like it's irresponsible, but it's not. But if I hear bits of information, like I want to get on horses at the right time, and at the moment it's very difficult with us doing these weekly shows, like we say with the Benny DG thing that's just happened there, declarations, entries, all that sort of stuff. Not complaining and using that as an excuse for anything, but we'll get to this point of the time of the year now where I'll have very few bets on new things. I'll normally be topping up stuff that I've already fancied. We're not going to be seeing too much coming out now that's going to be winning races that we haven't already seen. We might get some Triumph clues in the Dovecote. We might get some Ryanair clues in the Ascot Chase at Ascot, funnily enough. But it gets to this point now where I am looking for ones to even boost up my own book. And with the news of what's happening with Benny, there was rumours that she wasn't going to be in. Looking at these markets drew me in anyway, because I knew as soon as Benny's chopped out, that's a percentage of the book that's gone. And the fact that the news has come out and then there's still these representative prices, like Dame de Compagnie would have been 16s if we'd have got this shirt before the news came out. So apologies for that, but I still think that 12s is too big. I was expecting to go on there and she'd be sort of an 8-1 poke. So they're still in. I think they have got chances. There's no two ways about it. You'll see when I do my Lively Outsiders for the festival last year, I put the Kettle up as the Lively Outsider in the article. And again, it wasn't that I thought she was like the second most likely winner of that race. It was at the prices based on the form that she's done. You'd be mad not to have a bit on them. And that's just the way that I feel with these ones. Plenty of you would have backed Concertista in advance. Some of you may have even backed Roxana in advance. The Roxana thing as well now, she's shortened up so much. She's about 3-1 on 1-0 bet now, which I think that's probably representative of her chance. The same as I think Evans is representative of Concertista's chance. I think Dame de Compagnie should be 6-1-ish, no bigger than that. So again, in terms of value, you might want to get Dame de Compagnie on your books if you haven't already. And I think a lot of people, because she's been going chasing, probably would have swerved there for the Mayor's Hurdle. We should have listened to Daryl. Jesus Christ. Right, Matt, I've taken over most of the show. You ready to do yours?
Mate. Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready, mate. It's funny. It's one that I've ummed and ahed about for a long while. I was worried they might be thinking he was an Arkle horse, but I'm convinced now that Embittered will go for the Grand Annual, and that's my selection this week. As I've sort of mentioned before, I do like horses that are bordering on graded class and tried highly, dropped into handicaps, and Embittered fits that profile again. He was highly tried over hurdles, running behind MBL and Abracadabras last season in the Royal Bond and the Future Champions, and he just wasn't quite up to that standard. But he did finish the season a very good third behind Sanwar and Aramon in the county hurdle off a mark of 1:46. I thought it was a really good run against horses that have got a real turn of foot on her. But he ran well for a really long way. Was out in front, almost jumping the last one. So I thought it was a really nice run at the end of the season. Similar to this season, where he's runs this season over fences, he's finished second behind Easy Work and Andy Dufresne, looked very promising. And then he finished a well-beaten fourth in the race post novice chase at Christmas. And that was that strange race when they went off too quick in front, and Franco Deport picked up the pieces. But Embittered was going well enough, wasn't he, coming around the home bend, and he was cramped for room by Diver Star as he tried to come up the rail. And that really checked his momentum. Now, I don't think he'd have obviously won the race, but I think he'd have got a lot closer as he just tried to nick that ground up the inside. And then he was last seen finishing fourth at the Dublin Racing Festival behind an Ergamine. It's another respectable running graded company, and probably just showed that he wasn't quite up to an Arkle. And that's hence why I'm pointing up this week. He's now got an Irish rating of 144. So even with the UK tax, he should be fine. The last 10 winners, all the last 10 winners were rated between 138 and 150. Goes well at Cheltenham, he's proven last year. And I just think 20-1's more than fair enough in the Grand Annual, Dave, to be honest with you.
I need to get some sound effects to put in there, because you need like a little ripple of applause. They're so beautifully presented as well, aren't they? Now, to be fair to you, mate, it's a solid case. I'm reluctant to get too deep into the handicaps this year, because I like to. This year I've decided. I used to do it 5 or 6 years ago. I'll wait till the entries come out, then I'll hammer a week of the entries till the weights are published, with especially the Irish horses, of marks I think things should get. And then if some of the Irish are punished in races, my UK fancies might jump up the pecking order. But basically, I'll be looking at them there. But when you make a case like this for something like Embittered, I think he's probably the one that in a couple of weeks' time, when those entries come out and the weights start coming out, that a lot of people are going to start be taking him on, because you are right. And I look for exactly the same. We look at horses that we like to be potential graded quality because we're graded snobs, but you want to aspire to be the best. And then if they're not quite so good to make it up for the top grade, they can still be a little legend in their own lunchtime somewhere else. So I quite like Embittered, mate. He's not going to beat Mick Pastor, but I don't know if Mick Pastor's even alive anymore, do we? You don't know what's going on with him. But yeah, mate, decent shout. And the people that are watching know who's right. 43% better off you are than old minus Muck50 over here or whatever I am. But mate, you make a good case, and I like him as well. Like you say, he's got a bit of Cheltenham form as well, hasn't he?
Yeah. No, thanks, mate. Yeah, I like him. Don't think of that. Don't do yourself a disservice there. You've been unlucky, to be fair to you, with injuries and things like that. It's not always easy, like you say, with time and things. So, yeah, it's just because of what you put up on here isn't exactly the way you'd play it with the time and things. So, yeah, don't give yourself too much of a hard time.
That won't help Maureen, that's lost about 33 bets on selections I've put up. But speaking of the handicaps quickly, while I just talked about it there was a chap that tagged me in something on Twitter, and I'm always happy if people want to message me and ask my opinion, whether it's worth it or not. That's up to you to decide, isn't it? But I'm always happy to give my opinion on something. That tagged me in a couple of selections that he's got looking at handicaps for Cheltenham with write-in cases, very similar to what Matt sends over to me as well sometimes, because that's the way that we like to do things. We like to go through all the little lines of it, and we like to, even especially if you write it down, you know that you haven't got to recover bits. Some really good cases for some handicap horses that were coming out. So the couple that have been I've been tagged in for Twitter. Feel free to go and have a little peruse of them. But they're ones that would be added very much to my shortlist, and I would be looking at prices to see if they're worth adding in non-run and no bet before the entries come out, because there will be a few that will shorten up. So if you've got any handicap horses that you genuinely think have got chances towards Cheltenham, now I know there's quite a few people that like certain horses for any race that they might go at Cheltenham, just in a handicap. They're fine. But I'm more looking towards ones where you've got a logical reason to see why they would go for a particular race. So if you're kind enough to put that sort of stuff in the comments, or send me messages or anything like that, or do whatever you want with it, just be handy to get that sort of a feel for the next week before the entries come out. I'll be, like I say, spending a lot of time between entries and weights coming out. So we won't be able to capture that in next week's show. But what I'll do is in the weekend in between, so handicap entries close next Monday. I think we'll probably get them out Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, and then they'll come out the following Wednesday. So it'll be the 3rd of March when we get the actual weights. In between that window, I'll do a preview of the handicap horses that I've got on my radar, and basically I'll pencil in some marks of some Irish horses that I've got, so you can have them on your radar, because when the weights are released, it's bedlam on like an odds checker. You just see seas of blue left, right and centre, people messaging people about different things, and it's just everyone gets a bit overexcited. And we'll have that when we see the entry stage as well. Lots of horses going a bit mental. Just fear of missing out is a painful thing for lots of us. We'll see horses being smashed and we want to get on top of all of them. I'm very much with the handicaps nowadays that if I miss 10 to 1 on a horse that goes off at 5 to 1, if I really did fancy it when it comes to the day, I'd rather just have twice as much on. And I know for the fact that we bet Antepost and we're looking for value to try and get as best value as we can, I just think if you start going gung-ho back in plenty of these horses, you might end up being tied into horses. You've backed at 10s and 12s. They've gone down to like 7 or 8 to 1. You look at the slip and you think, I actually don't even really fancy this horse. Now, I know you could argue that you've potentially got the value, but you need to be able